Let's start at an R&D facility that is working on some remarkable tech to address fashion's most glaring issues. Yancy, what else can you tell us?
The fashion industry, I bet, isn't the first that comes to mind as the super user for fossil fuel. However, did you know it accounts for 10% of the global carbon emission output, which is international flights and shipment combined together. However, recently, under the global pandemic, I had a spring clean-out, and I realized that I never wore a few of my pieces of clothing, which is very common in Hong Kong. So today I'll be talking to a few people who are leading the circular solution in the fashion industry and see the efforts of how they use technology to create a greener future. So, Edwin, how did you enter the Research Institute for Textiles and Apparel?
Accidentally. I was for many years in this industry as a practitioner. I ran a lot of global supply chains. And then I decided I wanted to spend some time on research, just to understand some of the principles behind what we're doing. And then the government invited me to run this research center. I wanted to understand some of the challenges for the industry. Why are we facing some of the issues? What issues our current practices or business models are creating for the environment, for the world, and how can we do it better?
And I think the demand for fast fashion has increased dramatically over the 10 years.
Yes, a lot of brands have discovered that if they sell more stuff, they make more money, right? So the volume of business for the fashion industry has spiked incredibly the last 20 years.
Like fashion cycles are so much shorter now.
Exactly.
It used to be like every quarter, now it's like every 1 month.
We tend to throw away a lot more than we used to, and we hang on to clothes a lot shorter.
And then this is where you come in.
Well, part of the mission for the research center is to look at some of the challenges. For example, circularity and sustainability. The clothes that we wear are made from materials that are actually quite durable. So whereas the fashion cycles have accelerated, we actually are throwing away a lot of very useful materials they're quite valuable. So can we use those again? Are there other sources of fibers? In this institute, we've looked at things like food waste. We've looked at things like other types of waste materials and other agricultural waste as sources of new fibers for us to use.
And that's what you do here.
Well, this is one experiment. So this is a biological separation and breakdown recycling technology. We're trying to break down and get useful things out of waste materials using fermentations and enzymes and other biological processes. We also use chemical mechanical recycling as well as pioneering a new type of recycling called what we call the hydrothermal system.
I noticed there are some algae behind me. Can you explain a bit about this?
This is part of a group of projects that we are doing. First, we're looking at ways to treat wastewater. We're growing some algae and we're selectively developing them so that they actually use dye stuff and other waste that we produce as food. So you can see it getting clearer and better. We're also looking at saltwater-based solutions for fiber. You know, if we can grow seaweeds and things like that we can substitute for cotton, it is also there's some opportunities there. And then water processing or wastewater treatment in general is something that we're very interested in.
Yes, because I know a factory, like a single factory dyeing a fabric, they use around 200 tons of fresh water just to dye one fabric. So that's a lot of toxic waste.
What we're trying to do is to create solutions so that we don't create those waste
in the first place.
In the first place.
But I know you do B2B. You license your technology to big brands and manufacturers.
Well, manufacturers, big brands, any stakeholder in the industry, we are not discriminating about who we work with. And in fact, in certain projects, we try to create open research platforms so that all the stakeholders can work together and come up with a solution that is beneficial to everybody. B2C, we want to create consumer awareness. For example, in our garment-to-garment shop, consumers bring old clothes in, and we break those down into yarns and fibers, and we give them a new garment made from their raw material. So it's a new business model. We're selling a service instead of a product, and it's an educational experience for consumers to see what happens. Just everything happens in that glass box.
Here what we do is we recycle garment to garment, where customer can bring in one piece of garment. We will recycle it and then need a new piece of garment for the customer.
So the customer can actually bring their garments, the old
Yes.
garments here.
When the customer bring in a piece of garment, we will put it into this machine for sanitization to make sure that the garment is clean and good enough for our subsequent recycling process.
Right.
This machine is for opening up the garment and breaking it into yarns and fibers. We try to open it into fibers. And then here we have a technology using a computer vision system on how we did in the opening process. If the opening process is not yet completed, it will send all the intermediate material back to that feeding chute, and we will do the entire opening process again. Those ones that are ready, it will be sent to the next machine. This is the carding machine, where we have a clump of fibers, and then it will be combed into a same direction, approximately aligned to each other. And they will form a slifer from here, where we will do drawing later in the next step. These are the slivers formed by that machine, where you can see all the fibers are combed in the same direction.
Yeah.
What we're doing here is to have multiple slivers from that machine and mix together into one single one, so that the whole outcome sliver is consistent. The sliver formed in the drawing machine, it will be.
Oh, it's a lot thinner now.
Yes, it will fit into this machine first. This is called a roving machine,
Oh, okay.
where we convert the sliver into a roving. A roving is like this.
Ah, so this is the thinner
This
one.
is, yes, this is the thinner one for the spinning process later. This is called a ring spinning machine. We have 12 spindles actually, all work together to form yarns. This is a winding machine where
It becomes like threads, right?
Yes, the threads are then winded together to form a winded yarn. This machine has two functions.
Okay.
One function is to combine two yarns into a single yarn to give it more strength. Because recycled yarn usually are slightly weaker. First, we combine two yarns, so we call that doubling. And then here, we do a twisting.
Ah.
Okay, we will twist the yarn to increase even more strength to make it suitable for knitting. So the last step is this knitting machine. It's a 3D knitting machine where we can put in a pattern with the sweater design here, and then we will input into the machine, and it will knit it. One whole piece of finished garment will come out. Because the entire process, we design it to be waterless. So the environmental impact will be very low. The only impact involved is the electricity that needs to run all these machines.
I see. So like just as I said earlier, I mean, a client can bring their old clothes that they might have like some sentimental values to it.
There was one case where there was a girl who brought in a blanket. The blanket where, the babies like to have the blanket. She has been
bought
using
her
it.
baby's blanket.
Yes,
That's
she has
so
been using
cute.
it for her entire life, and then it was very valuable to her,
yeah.
meaningful to her, so that she brought it in, and we recover the fibers for her, and then recycle it into a scarf for her. So I think this is a very interesting application for this system. The most important factor of this setup here is for educational purpose, to educate the public, letting the public know where they can take part in this sustainability push.
Where do you see the future of this technology?
We'll create many more similar versions of this system in the world. We actually already have a partner which set up a similar system in Sweden to showcase the technology behind. We also plan to push this showcase in Europe and in Asia and in America as well.
Sustainable fashion has been increasing over the years. Today's experience has been eye-opening. Not only did I learn that technology can reduce carbon footprints, but also I learned how to renew old clothes. So, next time I do my spring cleaning, I don't only have the option to donate it, but I also have the option to give it a second life.